are live. Sudds-R-Us.
Every single week around the concepts of the circle of love. Circle of love. We focus on God, marriage, family, and life. Greetings, my brothers and sisters.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 179. We're going to make 180 before you know it.
200. We're on the way.
Yes, we are. As we continue in this seventh season, the Lord has blessed us.
Yes.
So we're just thankful to be able to come before you as we continue to focus on life/Black history. Now, episode 178 last week, same topic, life/Black history, but the topic was celebrating Robert Smalls. And we talked about a phenomenal Black man who escaped from slavery while stealing a Confederate supply ship. That's right. He stole the ship that he was a slave on and escaped. And you know what he did? He became a Union Navy ship sea captain in the Civil War, a successful businessman, and a politician, serving in both the South Carolina legislature and the U.S. House of Representatives in 1875 as a Republican. That's right, as a Republican.
Wow.
Well, as we continue to focus on life/Black history, today the topic is Ohio's contribution to Black history. That's right, Ohio's contribution to Black history. The three significant areas that the state of Ohio helped in an advancement of African American community. The three significant areas, what we're going to talk about, the three significant areas that the state of Ohio helped to advance the African American community in history/education, in the Methodist Church, and finally through funk and R&B music. We can't wait to get to that one, funk and R&B music.
Yes, but before we get started, we always want to give homage and respect to our fellow podcasters here on BS3 Network. We're under the leadership, the great leadership of our son, Ben Sutter III. I don't know if you can see those T-shirts there, BS3 Network. We're representing on today. We call him Mr. Podfather himself.
That's right.
He has been in podcasting for, a few years now, before we even got started in 2000. But he has such a leadership spirit, such a spirit of excellence is what he operates in. And we're so proud of our son and all that he's built through this network with the help of the good Lord, because he has given our son that niche. And I think now that he's in this arena, he is getting others up and running in this arena as well.
That's right.
And so that's right. He is a coach in podcasting. And so if you'd like to reach out to him, and get your feet wet in this podcasting arena, he would love to get you started. We would love to have you here at BS3 Network. But if not, he'll get you up and running and off to wherever you'd like to land. And in case you didn't know, BS3 is on Roku TV. You haven't downloaded us yet. Wait, we are on Roku TV. There is the link. And this is our email address. If you'd like to reach out to Sudds-R-Us, please do so. We'd love to hear from you. Any kudos, any suggestions, any comments. Look, we can handle it all. But we'd like to just give you a snippet of what BS3 is all about, and then we'll get started with the show. Stay tuned.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
All right. Let's get started. We're excited about this. Ohio's contribution to the African American community. Well, last week we talked about how Robert Smalls went to Washington, D.C. in August of 1862 with Reverend Mansfield French. Now, Reverend Mansfield French was a Methodist minister who had helped found Wilberforce University, a private university in Wilberforce, Ohio. It is one of the 3 historical Black universities established before the American Civil War. That's right, before the American Civil War. Founded in 1856 by the Methodist Episcopal Church. We call it MEC. It's named after English statesman and abolitionist William Wilberforce. Now, in 1863, it was sold to the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the AME, which has ties to the church since its inception. Wilberforce University remains affiliated with AME, African Methodist Episcopal. So while growing up in Hickory, North Carolina, United Methodist, and Irene was AME Zion, African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. See, the revelation, it piqued our interest to dive a little deeper in the state of Ohio, the connection of the growth of our people becoming prosperous, prolific, progressive, and productive citizens in the 1800s. And I was always curious as to why my Uncle Gordon Jr., my dad's brother, moved to Dayton, Ohio, when all of his other siblings and uncles and cousins, they moved to New York, or they stayed in North Carolina, like we did, including our close cousin Charles, who's like a big brother to us and recently passed. His mother, my dad's sister, moved to Brooklyn, New York. So we always wondered, what was it about Ohio? Dayton had a growing Black community in the 40s and 50s and 60s. Like other metros across the Midwest, Dayton's Black population surged during the mid-20th century as a result of decade-long Great Migration. Now, Black people moved to the city seeking jobs at corporations like General Motors and National Cash Register, which was called the NCR. And it's similar to the surrounding counties of our hometown of Hickory, North Carolina. A lot of people moved to Hickory in order to work in the furniture, hosiery, as well as the tape manufacturing plants in Hickory. So by 1960, Black Americans accounted for about a fifth of Dayton, Ohio's population. And as they moved into the city, you know what they did? They brought their culture, they brought the music with them. And that's interesting because when my cousin Jeffrey came to visit us in North Carolina and Hickory from Dayton, he introduced me to R&B groups like Zap and Ohio Players and a lot of other funk and jazz artists. Because back then we didn't have those on our radio station. Not in Hickory, North Carolina. So Ohio became a state in 1802. It did so as a free state. That's right, a free state with the slave states of Kentucky and Virginia along the southern borders. Ohio became a major thoroughfare for the Underground Railroad during the 19th century, with an estimated of 40,000 slaves escaping from America's South along Ohio routes. So additional to the migration, the patterns of free people of color in conjunction with the arrival of escaped slaves led to a significant growing Black population across the state, but especially in Hamilton County, Ohio. And those counties adjacent to it, the southwestern Ohio, which had the largest and fastest growing Black population in Ohio in that era. Which brings me to John 8:35-36. John 8:35-36. It says, "And the servant abided not in the house forever, but his Son abideth forever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. And they were free in the state of Ohio. But they was free. That was the popular part. That was the more positive aspect of it. Right. But you know what? They was free, but they needed education. They was illiterate. They needed to be educated. The need to educate the Ohio Black community became a pressing issue of concern for the community leaders, the politicians, and the religious groups. So the Ohio Conference of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, AME Church, they adopted education resolutions in 1833. Wow. And in the years following, they required their ministers preach sermons on the need for education. That's right. They required for their ministers to preach sermons for the need of education. Wow. So the Ohio General Assembly formally mandated the establishment of public schools for Ohio Black population in 1854. Cincinnati High School opened that same year as the first public school for Black students in Ohio. Wow. Similar to Ridgeview High School in our hometown of Hickory, that was established in 1897 as the first Black high school in Catawba County. So the Ohio Conference and the AME Church founded Union Seminary in West Jefferson, Ohio in 1847. Wow. But the school failed, unfortunately. School failed. It failed to strive and close in 1863. But in the years leading up to the American Civil War, there was a growing movement to establish schools of higher learning for Black people in the northern United States as part of the abolitionist movement to end slavery. This was a stark contrast to the southern United States, where it was illegal. That's right, it was illegal for Blacks to adopt or obtain an education. The first of these schools were in Cheyney University of Pennsylvania, founded in 1837, and Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, founded in 1854. So the interesting thing is that the interest in founding a similar school in Ohio was partly generated by a series of race riots. That's right. There was race riots in the southern Ohio that occurred in 1826, 1836, and 1841. So the Cincinnati Conference of the Methodist Episcopal Church believed that the establishment of a university for Blacks in southwestern Ohio could do much to solve the racial problems in the region. Were also wanting to provide opportunities to improve the lives of approximately 50,000 Black Methodists living in the area overseen by the Cincinnati Conference, Cincinnati Conference, which brings me to Proverbs 2. Proverbs 2, 10 to 12. It says, when wisdom enter into thy heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things. So beginning in 1887, Wilberforce University operated as a partially state-funded and partially private institution. Concerns over the separation of church and state led Wilberforce University, theological department, to separate and establish the independent Payne Theological Seminary. The state-funded division of the school separated from Wilberforce University in 1947 and became what today is known as Central State University. So prior to this, the working title of the school during the development period was Ohio African University, a name adopted on May the 22nd, 1856. But that was permanently abandoned after the vote in August 1856. So the Methodist Episcopal Church, purchased 52 acres of land for $15,000 in what was known as a Tawawa Springs for the purpose of establishing the college. Now, the word Twawa came from the language of the Swanee people and translate into the English as the bath of gold in reference to the shiny minerals found in the rocks in the streams on the property. Which brings me to this. Listen to this, Isaiah 45:2-3. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass and cut in sunder the bars of iron. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Lord, which called thee by name, am the God of Israel. They were described at that time that the land 3.5 miles northeast of Xenia, Ohio, the Twawa Springs property already had buildings when it was purchased, including 9 cottages, including 9 colleges available for student housing. The buildings had originally been built on the property for use as a pleasure resort. Now listen to this now, a pleasure resort, because its location of the Twawa Springs attracted a summer crowd, vacation crowd of people from Cincinnati and the South, particularly after completion of the Little Miami Railroad in 1846. Now, some people in the area, the abolitionists in the area, they had some sentiments where they were shocked when the wealthy white Southern plantation owners patronized the resort with the entourage of enslaved African-American mistresses and mixed-race natural children. So the former resorts, hotels, and edifice, which contained 200 rooms, was transformed into classroom. The MEC, Methodist Episcopal Church, spent $50,000 improving these buildings to make them usable for the new school. The school was established as a co-education school of higher education for African-American students, with its original name stylized as Wilberforce University. They used the word university in the title. It was debate at the time during the process of the school's founding, but ultimately it was decided that it should be used as an important aspirational gesture for what the founders hoped the school would become. They called this an act of pledge of victorious faith, which brings me to Hebrew 11:1. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The university currently offers 25 academic programs of undergraduate and graduate study. Since 1966, the school has emphasized cooperative education, in which students do internships in their field of study in addition to their coursework. The school is a member of a National Association of Intercollegiate Athletes, and its athletic teams, the Bulldogs, that's the mascot, the Bulldogs, compete in the HBCU Athletic Conference.
Wow. I must say, when I heard about Wilberforce, it threw me off because I never would have thought that this was an HBCU based on the name. See, you can't judge a book in this case, this university, by its name. But to be named after a white man, I just want to tap into a little bit about William Wilberforce right quick. His quote really was profound. He said, "We are too young to realize that certain things are impossible.
That's right.
So we will do them anyway." And that was his whole contribution to Wilberforce. His whole can-do spirit, like we gonna do this.
That's right.
And with the strength and perseverance, the institution was established. And with him being an only son, an only child, as a matter of fact, very unselfish. He was. Growing up, he may have been a little bit, but you know, his parents were wealthy maritime trade merchant, I should say his father. and he was a small and sickly child when he was growing up with poor eyesight. And when his father passed, his mother struggled with coping with that. And so she shipped him off to live with some more prosperous relatives. And that ended up being in London and Wilmington. And so when his grandparents and his uncle passed, then he was just independently wealthy. And very popular. This was during his college years. So you can imagine he's partying and he's drinking and, he having himself fun. But again, very popular. Obviously, a lot of friends, a lot of money is going to have you a lot of friends. And I'm sure they were helping him spend all that money. But he passed his exams and went on to earn his Bachelor's of Arts and his Master of Arts. But he was very generous with his money. And so I just wanted to point that out, that this man got himself together and made sure that he contributed, because he was an abolitionist, contributed to our people, contributed to those that were going on to study, the word, theology. And so, and we're going to talk about the church in a minute and more so about what Payne offered, in terms of his leadership. But I want to talk about also Wilberforce had such a showcase of rich history of groundbreaking leaders, and how I wish that our people could continue to be groundbreakers today. More life-giving educational institutions and more money saving and money investing in institutions, just owning more, having more in our community. It's just my wish, my desire, and I'm sure there's so many others that wish the same. But there are some very notable alumni that attended Wilberforce University from the arenas of civil rights and arts, science, politics, and more. And most of these we are already aware of and familiar with, but let's just be enlightened and inspired by the rest of them. This right here is Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams Early, the first African-American woman officer in the Women's Army Corps, or WAC. And she shattered barriers and broke through all kinds of glass ceilings as the commander of the historic 6888. That's her. Postal Directory Battalion during World War II. And you remember that her battalion was the focus of the full-length feature film, the 6888.
That's right.
I love her. Now, this right here is civil rights architect Bayard Rustin. Do y'all remember him of the movie Rustin? He was the principal organizer, behind the scenes brother, brilliant, of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom in 1963. Now, this gentleman right here, I could not get his, oh yeah, he's here. This is James Carroll Napier, born in 1845, is an American businessman, lawyer, politician, civil rights leader from Nashville, Tennessee. But anyway, he served as the Register of the Treasury of the United States of America. Do y'all hear me? This brother has his signature on American currency. From 1911 to 1913, he served. He is one of only 5 African Americans with their signatures on American currency. He was one of 4 African American politicians appointed to the government position under President Taft. And he called them that were appointed to this cabinet his Black cabinet.
There you go.
Come on, Taft. He was instrumental in founding civic institutions in Nashville to benefit the African American business community. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard of Floyd Flake. I could not get his picture up here. This brother was bad. He was an American businessman, minister, former politician, and served as the senior pastor of the 23,000 member Greater Allen African American Episcopal Cathedral in Jamaica, Queens, New York.
All right.
And get this, he was the 18th president of Wilberforce University.
Wow.
Look this brother up. He's still alive, still doing great things. And I just wanted to bring out how this scripture, Hebrews 13:6, just comes to mind with these alumni. The Lord is my keeper.
Yes.
And I will not fear.
That's right.
What shall man do unto me?
That's right.
Now, you know, back in the day, now I know there was some opposition with our people. So they were not fearful because they knew they had Lord on their side.
That's right.
And now I know y'all know who this is. Leah Ting Price, opera legend.
Right.
The first African-American soprano to receive international acclaim. Yes, an alumni of Wilberforce University. And I couldn't get William Grant Steele up. This man, first African-American to conduct a symphony performed by a major orchestra in the United States. He's known as the Dean of African-American composers. And he was also a part of the African-American, best known as the African-American Symphony in 1931. Profound. There's also Frank Benjamin Foster, the third, who was an American tenor, soprano, saxophonist, flautist, and arranger and a composer. And he was a member of the Count Basie. Y'all know anything about Count?
Oh, yeah.
Count Basie Orchestra. And worked as a band leader from the early 1950s.
Wow.
This sister here, Dorothy Vaughan, another alumni, an American human computer programmer and school teacher who worked for the National Advisory Committee of Aeronautics, NACA, and NASA in Hampton, Virginia. Now, she was featured in the movie Hidden Figures.
Right. Wow.
This sister. This one is William Julius Wilson, a native of the great state of North Carolina, an American sociologist known for his influential work on race, urban poverty, and social justice.
Wow.
Now, this is Robert Fox, John Robert Fox, excuse me, awarded the World War II Medal of Honor by the president, the brother from another mother, Bill Clinton.
All right.
And then we have another, one of the Tuskegee Airmen was an alumni, Raymond Haysbert. He was a business executive and a civil rights leader. And again, one of the Tuskegee Airmen. And then this is Haley Quinn Brown. She received her bachelor's and master's from Wilberforce. Now, she was a dean in South Carolina. She taught school in South Carolina. Allen University, she was a dean. And she went on to Tuskegee Institute and worked under the tutelage of Booker T. Washington.
Wow.
Now, she retired, and then she began to do lecture tours on behalf of Wilberforce University. I tell you, there's so many of them that I couldn't even begin to name them all. But this scripture reminds me of these alumni and so many of our great Black pioneers, heroes and sheroes.
Right.
And it reads, a man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. As you can see, all of them shining lights in the African-American arena of this world. Now, one other thing is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. received an honorary degree and delivered the 107th commencement in 1965 at Wilberforce University. And there happens to be a building on campus that was later named in his honor. So Wilberforce University, I mean, they operate and are owned by African Americans. I love that. For so many years now, they continue to build its financial foundation, including a newly established newly established endowment in her honor. Early in her honor, and has recently increased funding, including over $2 million for research and scholarships in 2024. And they work very closely with the state of Ohio. I love how they collaborate with the state and how they continue all these years. You know, that's nobody but God.
That's right.
Nobody but God blessing them. Yes.
Right. So mentioning that, oh man, what a beautiful lineup of alumni from Wilberforce University. And also how we mentioned earlier how the church had a great influence, as well as helping them establish that particular university. And one individual we want to bring out, one important individual that was very important in all of that, is Daniel Alexander Payne. Dr. Daniel, I like to call him Daniel Alexander Payne. He was one of the founders of Wilberforce University. Born February 24th, 1811, passed November the 2nd, 1893. He was a bishop, educator, college administrator, and author. Now, Daniel Alexander Payne was born free in Charleston, South Carolina. And that's what I focused on last episode when we was talking about Robert Smalls was in that area of Charleston, South Carolina. So he was an African, European, and Native American descent. Payne, Daniel Alexander Payne, stated later in his autobiography writings, he said, as far as memory serves me, my mother was light brown, very light brown complexion, and middle stature, and a delicate frame. She told me that her grandmother was a Native American tribal member known as the early history of the Carolinas as the Catawba Indians, which is interesting because our hometown, Hickory, North Carolina, is in Catawba County.
That's right.
And we also have the Blackfoot Native American blood running through our veins. But he also stated that he's the descendant from the Goins family, who were well-known, free colored Native American family. His father was one of the 6 brothers who served in the American Revolutionary War in 1775 through 1783. And his paternal grandfather was an Englishman. His parents, London and Martha Payne, were part of the Brown elite of free blacks in the coastal southern city. Now, both died before he reached maturity. But while his great aunt assumed Daniel's care, the Menards Moralist Society assisted his early education. Payne was raised in the Methodist Church, like his parents. He also studied at home, teaching himself mathematics, physical science, and classical languages. Now listen to this. In 1829, at the age of 18, he opened his first school in Charleston, South Carolina. That's right. His first school, he opened it himself at 18. So a major sharper of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, AME Church, Payne stressed education and preparation of ministers and introduced more order in the church, becoming the 6th bishop and serving for more than 4 decades, 1852 and 1893, as well as becoming one of the founders of Wilberforce University in Ohio in 1856. Now, in 1863, the AME Church bought the college and chose Payne to lead it. He became the first African-American president of the college in the United States and served in that position until 1877. By quickly organizing the AME missionary support of freemen in the South after the Civil War, Payne gained 250,000 new members for the African Methodist Episcopal Church. That's right, 250,000 new members during the Reconstruction era. Based first in Charleston, he and his missionary founded AME congregation in the South down to the East Coast to Florida and then west to Texas. And in 1891, Payne wrote the first history of the AME Church, a few years after publishing his memoir. After the infamous and feared Nate Turner's rebellion of 1831 in Virginia, South Carolina, and the other southern states, they passed legislation furthering restricting the rights and movements of free people of color and slaves. They enacted a law several years after the uprising on April the 1st, 1835, which made teaching literacy to both free people of color and slaves illegal and subject to fines and imprisonment for both whites and blacks. So with this passage of this law, Payne had to close his school. Listen to Hebrews 10, 23 to 25. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much more as ye see the day approaching. So I just wanted to expound a little bit on the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Used to call it AME Church or AME. Now, it's a Methodist denomination based in the United States. It adherence to the Wesleyan Arminian theology and has a connexual polity. It incorporates and other Methodist bodies through the World Methodist Council and Wesleyan Holiness Connection. Now, it's historically a black church and the first independent Protestant denomination to be founded by black people. The African Methodist Episcopal Church welcomes and has members of all ethnicities. Now, the AME Church was founded by Richard Allen, 1760 to 1831, and in 1816, when he called together 5 African American congregations of the previously established Methodist Episcopal Church with the hope of escaping discrimination that was commonplace in society, including in some churches. It was among the first denomination in the United States to be founded for this reason, rather than for theological distinctions. Allen, a previously ordained deacon in the Methodist Episcopal Church, was elected by the gatherers of ministers and ordained as the first bishop in 1816 by the first general conference of the 5 churches, extending from the 3 in Philadelphia area in Pennsylvania to ones in Delaware and Baltimore, Maryland. So the denomination then expanded west and through the South, and particularly after the American Civil War in 1861, 1865. So by 1906, African Methodist Episcopal Church had a membership of about 500,000 people. Wow. More than the combined predominantly black American denominations, which is the Colored Methodist Episcopal Church in America, the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, making it the largest African American denomination of Methodist tradition. The AME Church currently has 20 districts, each with its own bishop. 13 are based in the United States, mostly in the South, while 7 are based in Africa. Wow. So the global membership of the AME Church, African Methodist Episcopal Church, is around 2.5 million members. Wow. And it remains one of the largest Methodist denominations in the world.
Now that's amazing. I know about my upbringing, AME Zion, but never knew the history of AME. All right, look. Come on, Bishop.
That's it, Bishop.
Brother was tough.
Alexander Payne. Yes, he was. Yes,
now let's talk about some music. Y'all see them albums behind us.
Let's get to it.
Look, yeah, we still got them, and we still got the turntable to listen to them. Right, yeah, it has a needle too.
That's right.
You know, I used to have all the albums in the turntable, never had the needle.
Vinyls, that's what they call them now.
Vinyls. Oh, that cost an arm and two legs. But Black music artists, I tell you, you can't beat it. I mean, you hear this music behind me and so much more being sampled by these young people that know nothing about real music. Can I get a witness up in here? Real music. But Black music was drawn to Ohio primarily by the economic opportunities created by the Great Migration. And I always say, you know, where there's Black people, there's always going to be a surge of jobs.
That's right.
I mean, we were some working people. We've kind of gotten away from that. There's still some with good work ethics and can put in a good day's work for a good day's pay. But you know, some of this now you see is not what our people put forth back in the day. But there were manufacturing hubs like Dayton and Cincinnati and Akron, Ohio, that was very vibrant, diverse, you know, supportive, cultural, and scenic. I mean, they were free, so they had it going on. And there was, you know, David Webb is the founder of Funk Music Hall and Fame and the Exhibition Center. He says, I always call it a great migration of music. And so when people came to the North, he says, for jobs, they brought this Southern funk and the gospel, the rock and roll, the blues from the South to the North. And so in the 1970s and 80s, there were artists like Ohio Players. I know y'all see them up there. But the Ohio Players was a legendary funk and R&B group from Dayton, Ohio. And little did I know, originally formed in the great year of 1959. That's why we like them so much. As the Ohio Untouchables. And then they changed their name. But look, these are some of my favorites. Fire. Y'all remember that? Yeah. Heaven must be like this. And then Honey. Oh, that's my husband's favorite, right? I want to be free. Y'all remember that? Love Roller Coaster. And then they went on to spell out O and H. So that, look, we grew up under the Ohio Players. And Zap is right behind me right here. Zap and Roger. Y'all remember Roger? God rest his soul. Roger Troutman. They too emerged from Dayton, Ohio in 1977, 1988. Those were some good years for us. That was the year we graduated high school and all these artists came out and they signed with Warner Brothers. So they were big time. But here's some of just a few, because Roger had some hits. Computer Love. I Can Make You Dance.
I can make
So Rough, So Tough. That sounds like our grandson. We got a grandson. He rough and tough.
So rough, so tough.
Yes. And then out of that came Shirley Murdoch. She's from Toledo, Ohio. But anyway, she was discovered by Roger Troutman. And her debut album, that's all I remember of Shirley Murdoch, As We Lay, in 1986. And let's not forget about Lakeside. Oh, my. Also, Dayton is tough. Dayton, Ohio. Again, 1977. And 1969 and 1970, they were formed. But then they didn't gain significant attention until, look, there's the year, 1977. That's it. And this all-time favorite of mine, Fantastic Voyage. And it's all the way live. What y'all know about that? What y'all know about that? Now, here's one I can't remember too well. Phazo. They're from Dayton, Ohio. Produced by none other than the Ohio Players. But Riding High, y'all remember? I had to listen to it yesterday. Riding High. I remember that. Good Thing. I don't remember that. And then Breaking the Funk. That was some of their hits. And then Son.
Yeah.
Also from Dayton, Ohio. Wanna Make Love. I kind of had to play that one to remember. But look, this is our favorite, Slave. How many concerts did we go see of Slave? Dayton was, boy, they was putting them out. He always say there must have been something in the water in Ohio, because they had it going on. Just a Touch of Love. Just a touch right. Of love. And then Slide. Dun, 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 slide. And then Watching You.
Yeah.
So Psalms, this is my scripture for them. I tell you, it's amazing, these artists. Psalm 65, beginning at verse number 1, may very well speak the sentiments of these artists and so many other artists, because most of them, as we know, started out in the church.
That's right.
Where their foundations were laid, not just spiritual, which is the most important one, but also musically. But Psalms 65, 1-4 reads, what mighty praise, O God, belongs to you in Zion. We will fulfill our vows to you, for you answer our prayers. I know they felt that way in the beginning. All of us must come to you. Now they get in the revelation if they still alive. All of us must come to you, though we are overwhelmed by our sins. Wow. You forgive them all. What joy for those who choose to bring near those who live in your holy courts. And what festivities await us inside your holy temple. And verse 11 reads, you crown the year with a bountiful harvest. Wow. I'm sure when them records started making hits and that money started hitting the bank, even the hard pathways overflow with abundance. I'm sure that's their testimony. That's it. They had an overflow, because I'm telling us, we were buying albums every week, 2 and 3 and 4, 5. That's right. As they were coming out, we were gone for $5 a pop, when they now $50-something a piece. That's right. That's ridiculous. But I tell you, that's all I got for the few that I know from Dayton, Ohio.
Well, the thing about, we talking about these albums and these recording artists, about albums, the one that's behind us, it's something that you can touch. And you do this stuff on Apple Music, you can't touch it, you can't feel it. And then when you open it up, they had the folding album, they had the history of the artist, and you had the lyrics, and you have additional information and the graphics and the artistic colors. I mean, it's just amazing.
Amazing.
I got to talk about these three. I mean, these three are dynamic. I'm telling you. Yes. First of all is the OJs. OJs, another R&B group. They from Canton, Ohio. Look. They formed in the summer of 1958 and originally consisted of Eddie Levert, William Lee Williams, William Powell, Bobby Macy, and Bill Iles, while attending Canton McKinley High School.
Wow.
But it was originally known as the Mascots, and then the Triumphs. The Friends began recording with Miracles in 1961, which was a moderate hit in the Cleveland area. But in 1963, they took the name the OJs, in tribute to Cleveland, Ohio's radio disc jockey named Eddie OJ, who was part of the powerful management team of Frankie Crocker, Herb Hamlet, and OJ. So in 1963, the group saw the release of their song, Lonely Drifter, their first entry in the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. The single peaked a number of 93. Their debut album, Coming Through, was released shortly thereafter. And in the early 1960s, member Frankie Little Jr. joined the group as a guitarist and songwriter. So he worked with the lead vocalist, which was Eddie Levert, and assisted him in writing the groups, including 1964, Do the Jerk, recorded by Frank Pope. In 1964, Oh, How You Hurt Me. In 1966, Pretty Words. He also created the vocals of 1962, Down at the Corner. Now, according to Walter Williams, Frankie was a guitarist and songwriter in the very early OJ's era. He came with us when he first ventured out of Cleveland, and he traveled to Los Angeles. But he also was in love with a woman in Cleveland.
Wow.
He missed her so much that he soon returned back to Cleveland after a short amount of time. And in 2021, his human remains was discovered in 1982 at the Twigsburg, Ohio, were identified as those of Frankie Little. So the OJs made their first chart appearance with the minor hit Lonely Drifter in 1963, but reached their greatest level of success once the producer Gamble and Huff signed them to the Philadelphia International label in 1972. And with Gamble and Huff, the OJs had a trio after the department of Isles and Macy, and they merged the forefront of Philadelphia soul with Backstabbers in 1972.
Yes.
And they topped the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 charts following the year with Love Train and several other U.S. R&B hits. And the OJs were introduced to the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 2004, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2005, and the Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame in 2013. The original member, Bill Isles, born William Calvin Isles II, he was born, that great state again, McAdenville, North Carolina.
Wow.
And he died March 2019 in Oceanside, California, at the age of 78. But two of the original members, Eddie Levert and Walter Williams, are still performing today. I want to talk about another Williams, William Earl. William Earl Collins, better known as Bootsy.
Goodness.
Bootsy, the funkiest bass guitar player and singer and songwriter I've ever heard. He was born on October 26, 1951 in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he said that his mother gave him the nickname. But Bootsy said, I asked her, why, Mama, did you give me the nickname Bootsy? She said, she explained to him to the journalist, she said, because you just look like a Bootsy. He said, okay, I left that alone. I ain't going to far. I ain't asking no question with that. But his brother, Catfish Collins, born 1943, he passed in 2010, was also a musician. He and Bootsy was one of the part of the Pacemakers. And Bootsy Collins has maintained a strong connection with Cincinnati, rising in prominence with James Brown in the early 1970s before joining Parliament Funkadelic. The shorthand for the collaboration became P-Funk, and it grew to include offshoots like P-Funk All-Stars, Bootsy Rubber Band, Parlette, the Rise of Frankenstein, the Horny Horns, solo albums like Eddie Hazel's and Bernie Worrell. Bootsy Collins, he established himself as one of the leading names and invocators in funk with his driven bass lines and his humorous vocals. He was a frequent collaborator with other musicians from a variety of genres, including dance music like D-Light, Groove in the Heart, Electronic Big Beat by Fatboy Slim, Weapons of Choice, and The Joker, and alternative metal by Proxy, among others. Here's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, inducted in 1997, and 15 members of Parliament Funkadelic. In 2020, Rolling Stones magazine ranked Bootsy Collins #4 in its list of 50 greatest bassists of all time.
Of course.
Now, in 1976, Bootsy, Catfish, Waddy, and Joel Johnson. 1953, he passed in 2018. Gary Mudbone Cooper, Robert Johnson, and the Horny Horns formed Bootsy's Rubber Band. Now, they separated touring with George Clinton and P-Funk Collective, and the group recorded 5 albums together, the first 3 of which are often considered to be among the quintessential P-Funk records. The group's 1978 album, Bootsy, Player of the Year, reached the top of the R&B album charts and spawned the #1 R&B single, Bootseller. Like George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, he took several alter egos, from Casper, the funky ghost, to Bootseller, to the world's only rhyme-style rock monkey doll star, baby Baba, and all parts of evolving characters as an alien rock star who grew gradually more bizarre with those lavish and top hats, those rhine-star and rhine-shaped glasses, sunglasses, the rhine-star colorful outfits. He also adopted the trademark star-shaped bass, space bass they call it, around that time. So in October 2005, Bootsy Collins co-wrote a song collaborating resurgence of his hometown team, the Cincinnati Bengals, in the National Football League, called Fear the Tiger, which features raps written and performed by several Bengals, including defensive end DeJuan Clemens and offensive tackle Stacey Abrams. He also sings a martial law, the theme song of Cincinnati Marshall indoor football team. He debuted the song in 2006 at halftime. In March 2011, Bootsy Collins and his wife visit Frankie L. Williams MS #7 Little Rock School, which is Little Kids Rock program. They donated a bass, gave the children a bass lesson, and rap with them while they played the blues. He is now honorary member of the organization. Bootsy Collins is an honorary member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. Okay, last but certainly not least. Had to gotta squeeze them in. I only got a couple more minutes. Squeeze them in. The Isley Brothers. A smooth soul group whose slow, silky, sweet, and sexy music helped produce a lot of babies in the 70s and the 80s, I tell you. And also originally came from Cincinnati, Ohio. We tell you something, that it's something in the water in Ohio that produced these funk and R&B superstars. But they were raised in the city of Lincoln Heights suburbs, settling in the satellite town of Blue Ash when they were teenagers. Now, when their father, O'Kelly Isley Sr., a former U.S. Navy sailor and vaudeville performer of the great state again of Durham, North Carolina, and their mother, Sally, from Georgia, guided the elder four Isleys in their singing in the church. So the brothers, O'Kelly Isley Jr., Rudolph Isley, and Ronald Isley, together with fourth brother Vernon, began performing together in 1954, patterning themselves after other groups like Bill Ward and the Dominoes and the Dixie Hummingbirds. So eventually landed a spot on the Ted Max Amateur Hour where they won the competition. Now check this out. The prize was a watch. It says a watch.
That was an issue.
With Ronald singing lead vocals, the gospel quartet group soon began touring all over the eastern United States, performing in a variety of churches. But when Vernon was 11, he was killed by a car that struck him as he was riding his bike in his neighborhood in 1955. And this was devastating to the brothers. These Isley brothers, they was tight, it was close. No problems, no conflicts between the brothers. This was devastating. And the remaining trio, they disbanded after their brother was killed. Eventually, persuaded to regroup, the brothers decided to record popular music. They left Cincinnati for New York in 1957 with their parents' blessing. And the group got the touch of Richard Barrett, who soon had them contact a variety of New York record producing, and the group had their first succession during these early years and rose to prominence in that great year again, 1959.
Oh, 59, okay.
With their fourth single, Shout, written by three brothers, which became their first single on the charts, Billboard Hot 100, and sold over 1 million copies. In the 1960s, the group recorded songs for a variety of labels, including 20 singles, Twist and Shout, and the Motown single, The Old Heart of Mine Is Weak for You, before recording and releasing Grammy Award-winning hit, It's Your Thing. It's Your Thing. Do what you want to do. Yeah. And that was on T-Neck Records.
I remember that.
T-Neck Records. Now, Ronald Isley granted guitarist Jimi Hendrix. Now, I had to squeeze this in. He granted guitarist Jimi Hendrix, who later became famous as a solo artist, an audition that led to an offer to become the guitarist of the Isley Brothers' backing band, the IB Specials, which he readily accepted. But in March, Hendrix recorded the two-part single, Testify. Had to listen to that myself yesterday, Testify, with the Isley Brothers, released in June. It failed to chart, but Hendrix toured with the Isley Brothers during the 1964 era, and in October, he was growing tired of playing the same set every night. He left the group. Soon afterwards, Hendrix joined Little Richard, touring with the Upsetters. So in conclusion, the younger brother, Ernie Isley, led the guitar, drums, and Marvin Isley, bass guitar, and Rudolph Isley, the brother-in-law, Chris Jasper, keyboards and synthesizer, and they just grew. They just grew. And they had so many hits. The recording string had hits like 3+3, Between the Sheets, For the Love of You, Footsteps in the Darkness, That Lady, Summer Breeze, Makes You Feel Fine. Yes, The Heat Is On, The Laughter. It just goes on and on and on. And the peaking of number of these particular series. But we just thank you for this opportunity to share with you some of these beautiful artists and their accomplishments.
Yes. And the one that laid the groundwork for this Ohio funk. It was built on James Brown.
Built on James Brown, that's right.
And the band.
Yes.
The real instruments, the costumes.
Right.
The uniformity, the movements, all of that. That's James.
Yes, James.
The Godfather of soul. So we thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah. I'm telling you, I hope that this enlightened you as it did us. This has been amazing. I mean, to reflect on all of this, and yet know that we grew up during that time, but still, we certainly have not forgotten. So,
our closing scripture.
Yes.
Comes from Proverbs 1, 3, and 5. Proverbs 1, 3, and 5. And it says, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel.
Wow.
God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, be blessed.
Be blessed.
We are live. Sudds-R-Us.
Every single week around the concepts of the circle of love. Circle of love. We focus on God, marriage, family,